What's going on, my friends? Oh, it's been a minute. I got a new computer, finally. Fun fact. Tortured myself for 4 years because I cracked the screen on my old computer. Stupid rage. Forced myself to use that thing for 4 years with a cracked screen. Most people have cracked screen on their phones. I had a cracked screen on my computer. And I just got a new one. So we're testing a lot of this stuff out here. Got a lot to go through. Gonna make it quick though. Got things to do. Got stuff to tell people. We got rates dropping. We got rates dropping. Okay. Which is, of course, good. There's some people who are in the refi realm now. People who, if you got your loan, in October of last year, let's say, or maybe in one of the higher rate timeframes, even earlier this year, potentially, but really at the end of last year or the end of 2022. Those were the two times where rates were really high. So refi opportunities are out there right now because rates have dropped. Yes. Now we're going to go through a couple things here. And we'll do some charting at the end. I do want to just touch base right off the bat. Let's get this guy over here. Mortgage bond chart. What are we looking at here? Well, you can see the bottom is in. I mean, if you zoom this thing out, it's pretty obvious to see we've got the liquidation bottom is in. Okay. Liquidation has taken place. What we're looking at here is the breakers right here. We bounced right off the breaker. So we're probably going to see, a couple legs higher. I would say we're going to get to 103 or 104 on this chart. When is the question? And I think it's sooner rather than later now. This week was a very much telltale sign because on Tuesday, we got kind of a bad inflation number. Market shrugged it off. We had a green candle in bonds that day. Then yesterday, we got the CPI reading. The Fed prefers that reading, and it was good. So we got like 40 basis points. Today, we gave it back. We gave back half of it anyway. Gave back 23. We got 41 yesterday. We gave back 23 today. It's okay. There's a gap here that needs to be filled. And, that's a volume imbalance that needs to be filled right there. It'll probably get filled, and that's fine. But the move is here. We can see bottom is in. There's going to be some back and forth. Little pullbacks here and there are going to lead to higher prices. They are. So higher bond prices means lower mortgage rates. That's what we want to see. We want to see this sucker go make new highs. That's going to drop rates down. And it has been. We got into the fives yesterday for a split second. We gave it back. But we were into the fives again. Just like that. And after all this downward pressure. So I'm telling you right now that the bond market's ready to go higher. They're trying to disguise as many ways they can, give you these big red ugly candles and stuff like that. There's no follow through there at all. None. That just means they pulled the bid because they wanted to buy it right here. And you can see it. Very obvious. It's obvious after the fact. Very obvious. Big buy-in right there. Okay. That means we're going up. So let's all just, thank the rate gods for that. That's where we're headed. Things are looking good. And by the way, we are live on multiple platforms here. If you want to say hi, drop a comment, say what's up, feel free to do that. Let's run through some stories and we'll look at some charts. Got some advice. We're going to look at the market today too. I'm going to go through the altos. I'm going to show you where that's at. A lot of people just kind of can't believe the market's so strong and it held through all of this. Think about this. 2022 was the year that rates went up. That's 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Has real estate recessed? Has it been stung? A couple pullbacks here and there. San Diego real estate is for sure strong. Let's take a look at this. High mortgage rates and payments make for a slow spring market. You could say it's slow, but it's relative, right? Relative to supply. Like slow in what sense? Slow in a volume sense. That's good. So when you see things like this, and I always try to point out these articles that are a little misleading or maybe aren't telling the whole truth, so you can, educate yourself, educate your friends, family, your clients if you're an agent. What is really going on. So when they say slow, what does slow mean? Slow means not as many units, not as much volume, not as much transactions. That's what slow means here. Doesn't mean that prices are getting hit. Doesn't mean that people aren't buying homes. just means that it's slow in the sense that when you look at the numbers, oh, only that many transactions. Still had over 2,000 sales in San Diego County last month, which leaves us with like 1.5 months of inventory. Still, after we've gone all the way to 8% interest rates and come back from it, but went all the way to it twice. Just let that soak in for a second. This is something that's interesting. Redfin has a great blog, by the way. A great website for looking at real estate, plain and simple. The typical home buyer's down payment is now $56,000, up 24% from a year ago. This is just me calling all VA buyers.
All we want to do is pump you up.
0% down payment for VA loan. Typical home buyer's down payment, $56,000. When I tell you, sometimes you'll hear me say it's going to get worse. What do I mean by that? Worse for buyers. I work with buyers. I represent buyers. What's worse for buyers? Higher prices. Right? So when I say it's going to get worse, what I mean is that prices are going to keep going up. These things are going to blow your mind. In 10 years from now, you won't believe what this is going to look like. It's going to shock and floor all kinds of people. And millions of people who could buy a home today will not be able to buy a home then, and will probably not ever buy a home as a result. That is what is coming. That is a reality. A lot of people saying a lot of stupid stuff online. That is what's going to happen. We've been heading that way for a long time. We've just been chipping away at it. There was a point in time that you go back to the 50s even. Everybody could buy a house. It didn't matter. If you were a single income household and you worked at the mall, you could still buy a house. It has not been that way for a while. I don't know if they had malls in the 50s, but entry-level job. That's what I meant. Okay, so this guy, I don't know who Invitation Homes is, but what he said is correct. Low supply, this is his prediction, will keep pricing pressure on housing through end of year. So again, they're not very clear here. What does this mean? Pricing pressure. Low supply will keep pricing pressure on housing. That means that you're not going to see prices coming down very easily. It's hard for prices to come down. Even now, where a lot of people are unaware of the fact that rates have gone down, a lot of people are completely turned off to the idea of buying. I've never had this many people pre-approved before, ever. But I measure activity by how many people ask me to run payments over the weekend. That's how I measure activity, not by how many people pre-approve. Getting pre-approved, it's something. It's not nothing. But it doesn't give you a good indicator of activity. When people are asking, hey, what are the payments on this place, on that place, with this much down, with that much down? Ask me a million questions about payments. I love running those numbers. No problem. Takes me no time. And I let people know that. In fact, I reach out before the weekend. Hey, if you see anything you like, let me know. And if I'm getting to only 2 or 3 people out of dozens and dozens and dozens of people who are pre-approved who even ask me to run numbers, people aren't looking. They feel defeated because they haven't seen what they were hoping to see. Most buyers are wishing that prices would come down and rates would go down. Sounds silly. If you're in the industry, if you understand how this stuff works, sounds silly to say, but that's what they're really hoping for. They're really hoping that rates were going to come down, prices were going to come down, they were going to jump in, and they'd be the only one in the boat. Well, the ship has sailed on real estate, my friends. It is 100% something that is not a secret anymore. The big boys, are involved in a big, big way right now. They have been for a long time. I've been showing you all the data. I've been posting it all. They're scooping up homes. They're buying entire developments before they're finished. Secret's out. Real estate wins in the end. It does. And there's basically nothing that can stop it because everyone needs to live somewhere. That's why I do think real estate is even better. I have high conviction in Bitcoin and Tesla. Real estate's better. You can't live, I guess you could live in a Tesla, but you can't live in Tesla stock. You can't live in a Bitcoin. I love them both. But real estate wins in the end. And the secret's out. So it doesn't matter. Low supply will keep pricing pressure. We're going to look at those numbers for San Diego here in just a second. A couple more stories. And this is just to reiterate what I was saying. Mortgage demand from home buyers drops even as interest rates pull back. Now, why is that happening though? Well, because the word doesn't get out super quickly. Now, if you're in my circle, if you're pre-approved with me or something, you're going to know right away. But most loan officers don't do that. Most banks don't do that. It takes weeks for people. So when's the perfect time to buy as interest rates are going down? Well, when you first see a nice big dip, and right now what we need to see is we need to get comfortably into the fives. That would be our first big dip. If we get comfortably into fives, let's say 5.75, 5.5, that range, then you've really got something substantial that's going to get people off the fence. And it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks after that where everyone else will know. So when that first happens, if you are one of the people who finds out, whether it's a text from me, listen to the blog, whatever, then you can strike before it really starts to get priced into homes. It can even take in some markets 2 or 3 months for it to get priced into homes. And that's the real sweet spot. That's the real sweet spot. Some markets like San Diego, though, much more difficult because we are so thin on inventory that we still have multiple offers on everything. I mean, it's so hard to get an offer accepted right now. It's crazy. So this is simply because people are unaware. So if you're in the industry, whether you're a lender or a realtor right now, you're listening to this, it is our job. We have to disseminate the information. Rates might go down. Bond market might be on fire. No one's going to know if we don't tell them. No one's going to know. And they're not going to post anything on CNBC or say anything in the news until it's significant. Because you're saying right here, it pulls back to April lows. That's not that significant. So this isn't going to be front page stuff. If we see, hey, lowest rates in the last 10 years, that's when it's going to make headlines. That's when the FOMO really starts to kick in. If you're waiting for that, if you're waiting to hear it on NPR on the way to work, I'm not going to say it's be too late, but you're certainly not going to have beat anyone to the punch. That's for sure. I find stuff like this funny, but I also realize that there are a lot of people who really don't know how this stuff works. And maybe they talked to their grandpa or something one time when they were a kid and they just stuck with them. 20% down payment isn't the law of the land. It is not. 3.5% down, 5% down, completely doable. There's down payment assistance programs. You don't need 20% down, just in case you didn't know that. Okay. This is a big one for people who are doing investing. I want to give this nugget right now. If you want to say what's up. Let's see here what we got. Joe. Love the shirt, Joe. Thanks for your knowledge. If there's an upcoming bull run, will the average home buyer afford to take part? Will it be taken by the wealthy investors? That's a great question. So the reality is, Joe, that when the run happens, and you can look at just look at Bitcoin yesterday, it's up $5,000. Okay. If you're waiting for the run to start, you're going to miss out for sure. Right. We saw this happen with real estate. People who bought real estate like 5 years ago, maybe it was kind of slow for a year or two, and then boom. You don't know when the booms are going to take place, so you have to be in. If you are a first-time buyer, and let's say you're barely qualified for something today, the market could slip past you. It totally could. It absolutely could. There's my boy Ryan Dalzell, real estate, Bitcoin, and Tesla. Those are my bags. They're the same here, bro. God bless us both. Oh my goodness. So your home sale can trigger capital gains taxes. If you haven't lived there 2 out of the last 5 years, I don't even know if they said this. I didn't see this. I didn't read the whole article, I'll be honest with you, because I just want to tell you what's up with it. If you've lived in your home for 2 of the last 5 years, when you sell it, as of the date of the sale, then you can get some capital gains relief. So no taxes on the first $250,000 or $500,000 if you're a married couple. So $250,000 if you're single, $500,000 for a married couple, assuming you meet the IRS rules, which are you have to have lived in it 2 of the last 5 years. So if you're an investor and you're buying a home, you live in it for a couple of years, and then you go and you rent it out, you got 3 years. Make sure you mark that shit down on your calendar. Because if you get, 2 years and 9 months down the road, you decide you want to sell that sucker, or you just want to at least look at it. Just look at it. Because if you don't sell it, then you're basically saying, I don't want to sell this ever. And that's fine. Perfectly fine. If you don't want to ever sell it, that's great, actually. But if you ever want to sell it, that's the sweetheart window to do it where you don't have to pay the taxes. Otherwise, you're 1031ing it now and you're kicking the taxes down the road, which is also good, but it's not as good as not paying tax. So for a lot of people, if it's your first investment or maybe your second, or you just have a couple properties or whatever, that might be a time to take some cash off the table and turn one property into two properties. Just something to know. Okay. 2 out of the last 5 years, if you've lived there. Also a good reason to, for people who are buying a home to live in and then renting it out. A lot of people, for some reason, maybe it's a TikTok trend. I don't know. I'm not on TikTok. But they want to buy and live in it just for 1 year and then move on. Guys, live there for 2 years. Huge advantages to living there for 2 years. Huge. Okay. When do you get to make that much money tax-free? Can you think of any other situation? Tax-free, not deferred, tax-free, no tax. All right. Now we have to talk about the markets for a second. The Dow hit 40,000. So we're hitting all-time highs. The S&P closed at all-time high yesterday, highest close ever. So we got stocks at the highest levels ever right now. Does that make sense to anyone? A lot of people are like, how could this be? Okay, well, that's sort of the thing with inflation, right? You say, oh, well, this is the highest it's ever been, but is it really? Adjusted for inflation? It's probably not. Still pretty high. Why? You also have to keep in mind one thing here that a lot of people aren't thinking about with regard to stocks or just investments in general. It could be crypto, whatever. There's a ton of money on the sidelines. I mean, the biggest amount of money we've ever seen, trillions and trillions and trillions on the sidelines. Why? Because you're getting 5% with no risk. You could put your money in your savings account at your bank and get 4 or 5% with no risk. CDs, 5-something% for 6 months, a year, whatever. That's good money. That's good, easy, risk-free money. Everyone who's risk averse is not involved in this run to these all-time highs. So there's a lot of money on the sidelines that can still come into the game. Now, if rates start getting cut, and you start to see those percentages go down, maybe you're only making 2%, 1% now in your savings account. That will get a lot of people to come off of the sidelines and start firing money at different investments out there. That could be the top signal. I just want to prepare everybody for that. That could be the top signal. Normally, rates get cut, Fed, stocks go even higher. Everyone knows that. So that could actually be the exit trigger for big money. I want everyone to be very careful about that as rates go down. Don't fall into that trap. Okay. Let's take a look at here's one I want to talk about before we get to charts. Fannie and Freddie. If you've been doing deals, whether you're buying a home or whether you're in the industry, been a lot of insurance issues. And so Fannie and Freddie have hit pause on their replacement value requirements for home insurance, which should help the thing. They basically, Fannie and Freddie got a little bit tighter on insurance, particularly for condos. The requirements, the review for condos has been more difficult lately. It would be bullish if they chilled out on that. And it looks like that's the direction this is headed. So for people who've been dealing with that, just keep in mind that is likely around the corner. Inflation outlook rises, fueled by inflation outlook rises. Outlook is what? Survey, fueled by expected increases for housing costs. New York Fed survey. So the Fed believes that they're going to see increasing housing costs. What does that mean? Increases in housing costs means higher home prices. This is going to be a theme for a while. I'll tell you guys, minds are going to be blown where we're headed. It's going to be absolutely insane. Okay, so now let's take a look at the San Diego market. See what we got over here. Say hi if you want to. We are live on the Book of Faces, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. All right, so Altos Research Market Action Index here. This is what measures buying and selling activity. And right now, it's printing a 67, which is a strong seller's market. We've been in a strong seller's market the entire time. Even when rates were at 8%, we were still down here in the seller's market. We have not been in a buyer's market since I've started looking at this thing. for years. Okay. I don't know if we'll ever really have a true buyer's market in San Diego, but let's look at some of the key statistics here. All right. Price per square foot. About 4 months ago, price per square foot was at 781. Now it's at 761. This is the most important piece of data, in my opinion, to see what's going on with the market. So price per square foot is decreasing just slightly. What does that mean? Does that mean, well, this is pretty much flat, not really going too far anywhere. But sometimes when you see a slight dip like that, it can mean that there are much higher priced homes that are selling, because the bigger homes, the bigger the home, and the more square foot per home, the less you're going to, pay per square foot. And if you look at the median list prices and stuff like that at 1.35 million, that would kind of, that's confluence for that. And so I'm not really looking at that as being a bad thing too much, but we're going to look at that chart in more detail though. Average days on market decreasing last 4 months from 57 to 43. Price decreases at 31%. A few months ago, we were at 32%, pretty much flat. Those kind of, dipped a little bit there, but are back to a normal level. Homes relisted down a lot. Inventory has been creeping up. We were at 369 here, up to 522. So we got to creep up in inventory, which is good. We need that. And rents obviously creeping up as well. Almost $4,000 median rent in San Diego on here. That's the highest I've seen it. Looks like it touched 4,000 on the average a couple of times. That's wild. But you can see the market action index also increasing from 56 a few months ago to 67. So those are all pretty bullish, data points. Now let's look at the price per square foot. I want to get a better feel for where that is. So you can see the trajectory of value per finished square foot of real estate in San Diego is quite nice. That is exactly, if you were invested in something and the chart looked like that, you'd be pretty happy. You wouldn't have any reason to be upset. So it looks really good. Now the 7-day average has dropped off a little bit, and that's why we're getting that lower reading. But the 90-day is still showing strong there at 793. So that could be a recent phenomenon. We're going to keep an eye on that, but I don't see prices getting slashed or anything like that happening. What I have seen is a couple scenarios where people were trying to sell a home quickly, like they bought it 10 months ago or something, and they're trying to resell it, and they've had a hard time because they're trying to get a price that they want and not, what the market's willing to pay. So I've seen a couple homes sitting, not selling, and people just figuring something else out. So we'll see what happens with this. Let's keep an eye on this. We're going to really keep an eye on this price per square foot number here to see if we get any reading that requires further investigation. Okay. But I'll tell you this.
It is your destiny.
One way or another, you're all going to own Bitcoin at some point. May as well talk about it. A bunch of ETFs are buying the Bitcoin ETFs. Here's the chart. Okay. We got the downward channel. So we're going to jump into this. If there's something you want me to cover, let me know. Just drop in the comments wherever you're at, and I'll get to it on the chart side here. I'm going to look at Bitcoin. I'm going to look at Tesla. I'm going to look at Meta, and that'll probably be, we might take a look at gold as well. So here's Bitcoin. Your bearish order block up here. That's the red shaded area. We do have a bottom pattern. So a bottom forming pattern. So if you're long Bitcoin, you like to see this. Basically, let me get my drawing utensil out here. This right here is a perfect bottom forming pattern. This is pretty much how all bottoms are made in the financial markets. You basically have a green candle here. Okay, that's the start of the liquidation, which means the creation of the low. So then it goes down and makes a new low, right? Here was the old low. Goes down and makes a new low. And then it closes above that area, which just happened yesterday. So that is a bottom forming pattern that happens across all time frames, all instruments, stocks, bonds, whatever. I showed you the breaker over on the bond chart too. For people who are interested in this stuff, I know a lot of people are really interested in this stuff, which is cool because I really like it. But you see, we have the same thing going on over here. You have the green candle up here, right? And then the liquidation goes down and makes the new low. And then once it closes above, like it did right here, what happens? it just returns to this area, and that's where the launch pad is. So we're kind of waiting for that same thing to happen over here on Bitcoin, right? And we did. It's gonna probably touch this tomorrow, be my guess. This is gonna close somewhere up here, and tomorrow we'll get like a red candle. It'll come down into this area, and then we're gonna see it move higher from there. That's my expectation, just based on this this price signature, which is very common, very very common, and makes so much sense. And my price targets here are the same, pretty much. For Bitcoin, I'm still expecting 87,000. I think 87,000 is where we can expect to see, perhaps 85 to 87,000 is where we can expect to see, a pretty good rejection from. A lot of people are saying, these crazy numbers, 100,000, 200,000, 250,000, 300,000 this year. I don't think that's going to happen. I hope it does. I hope it does. I'll take pictures of me on my yacht and send them to everybody, but I don't think that's what's going to take place. I think we're probably going to see mid 80s, 87 might be the top. And maybe that will be it. And maybe I'll be wrong. I don't know, but I'm very confident we're going to get there. And then we'll see what happens. Okay, we'll see what happens. But we got a nice bottom forming price signature here. It also came down, touched the channel just perfectly. I mean, it looks really good to go higher from here. I think this is what you've been waiting for if you're a Bitcoin holder. All right, let's take a look at my favorite company in existence, Tesla, which is relentlessly short sold. Another big short seller just bet huge. Again, double down on his short. He's going to get smoked. But long story short, there's bearish order blocks right here, okay, built on this gap, this fair value gap. There is, however, right now, as you can see, we do have a gap fill above this area. So, and that was a terrible line, but it's up there above that. So there's a gap fill there. So the price is going to be gravitating in that direction. What's going on right now with Tesla that a lot of people don't understand is it's not just like a car company or a charging network or a solar company or a power company. It's an AI company. And Tesla has the best AI, best real world AI. And Optimus, which is the Tesla robot, I really encourage you, if you have not looked into this, if you're like, what does he talk? Why does he always talk about this Tesla robot? Go on YouTube and just type in Tesla Optimus robot and just watch some of the stuff that it's doing. These robots are going to be inexpensive. Literally everyone is going to have one. Everybody. It'll be crazy not to have one. Crazy. Because they'll be able to do so much crap work so efficiently for you. I mean, Elon Musk has not said this, but I believe that this is on the roadmap. What he has said is, it's going to clean up for you. It's going to do the dishes, do the laundry, clean the house, do the things that you don't want to do. It's also going to kind of be like a night watch. The Optimus will know if there's an intruder in the house or someone it doesn't recognize. It will be able to call 911. It will be able to watch your kids, not necessarily full babysit for you, but if one of your children is like in trouble or asking for help, it will be able to react, call you, text you, go get you. I mean, it's completely insane what the possibilities are here. I cannot believe that Tesla is only trading at $174. I can't believe it. This is by far, in my opinion, the biggest bargain that you'll ever see in your entire lifetime. Why is it such a bargain? Most people do not know what I'm telling you. That's why I'm telling you to research on your own. Go to YouTube, watch the videos for yourself. Most people do not understand what's coming, what's taking place, what they're doing, what the research is, how it's going to work. Also, just this past week, Tesla talked about robotaxi. Robotaxi is going into effect. What is that going to be? It's essentially going to be an Uber that's done. So Tesla will have some of the cars will be their own fleet, meaning their own vehicles that you will be able to summon to you autonomously. There will be no driver. The car will just come and pick you up and take you where you want to go. And you'll pay just like an Uber. Okay. So for people who don't own a Tesla and just want to get a ride, you'll be able to do that. And then for people who own a Tesla, you will simply be able to go to your Tesla app and just toggle like ride share on, click. And your Tesla can now be used as part of the fleet. Someone can have your Tesla come and pick them up and take them somewhere and you get paid. So imagine, and what Elon has said is that your car, your Tesla vehicle, will not be a cost center for you. It will be a profit center for you. In other words, The times that you're not using it, let's just say while you're asleep, you can send it out there, and maybe if you're in a rural area, it won't work. Okay. But if you're in the city, you can just toggle it on while you're asleep. The car can go pick people up, take them where they go. And even if it's only making a couple $100 a night or something, which would just be a few rides, think about how much that is. It's thousands of dollars a month. Can you imagine? I mean, one of the things that sucks about driving Uber, a lot of people do it because you can make money. What sucks is you have to give your time. Now imagine if you don't anymore. Imagine if you can essentially be an Uber driver, but not actually have to do the driving. It's wild, right? I mean, the possibilities here are so crazy, and I could talk about it all day. I'm mega, mega, mega bullish on Tesla long term, and my holdings definitely reflect that. So I would highly suggest everyone to investigate these things I'm talking about on your own, and see what you come up with. See what you come up with on that one. Meta is also very interesting to me, as you guys know. I don't own it anymore. I sold it too early. I'm an idiot. I sold it at $295. I sold all of it because I'm stupid. But aside from that, this is a company that essentially has, the metaverse, right, on lockdown. They own 100% of it. They will always own 100% of it. And virtual reality is going to take a whole another kind of leap, guys, with the advent of AI. And if you haven't tried Chat GPT lately, you really should. In fact, let me just show you real quick. Chat GPT. Let's see if it knows anything. Who is the best loan officer in San Diego? San Diego, California. Finding the best loan officer in San Diego, California is subjective and dependent upon your specific needs and preferences. So you can ask it any question you want. Like, okay, hey, if I want to post to Facebook something sweet for Mother's Day, what should I say? Boom. There it goes. It says, Happy Mother's Day to all the incredible moms out there. Today we celebrate the unconditional love and the sacrifices, unwavering support you provide every single day. Whether you're a mother, stepmother, grandmother, or mother figure, your love shapes our world in beautiful ways. Thank you for all that you do. Okay. Now I can say, very good, but can you make it shorter and more emotional? Boom. And it just does it immediately. Happy Mother's Day to all the amazing moms. Your love lights up our world. Thank you for everything. You can have it type movie scripts out for you, social media posts, completely crazy stuff. And that's just this. You're also going to notice here soon that this AI, ChatGPT-ish style AI, is going to show up in Siri on your phone. So Siri is going to start to become more charming. If you guys haven't been to the Sphere in Las Vegas yet, one of the things that's really interesting about what's going on in the Sphere is they have these androids in there, and people will come up. I took pictures of this. Maybe I can show you. People will come up and listen to these androids. And the reason that they do it is because the androids are very charming. They're very charming. They have humor, and they'll literally stand there and go, hey, does anyone want to raise their hand and ask me a question, or I will ask you a question? That's literally what they say. And then if someone raises their hand, they'll be like, you in the yellow shirt, do you have a question, or do you want me to ask you a question? And that's literally what they're doing. And they're sitting there just charming the pants off of everybody. I mean, I couldn't believe it. But there were just hordes of people standing around these robots, and the robots were just charming the freaking pants off everybody. Maybe I don't have the pictures on here. I don't know how I couldn't. I definitely took them. But anyway, I guess here nor there, I won't be able to show you. But it was a crazy experience. And what I realized was that, these robots are going to be charming. They're going to be able to talk you into stuff. They're smarter than, here we go. They're smarter than we are, significantly. Here's a picture. Let me see if I can get that on the screen. You can see all these people standing around these robots and asking questions, and the robot was hilarious. So you're going to see that integrated into almost everything. including, Siri and all these things. Well, Meta is going to be integrating these things, this AI personas into the metaverse, which means that you, as a human being, could go into the metaverse and not actually talk to any other people. They don't need real people anymore to like be real people, because real people can like let you down and maybe they don't like you, make fun of you, be mean to you. These AI characters aren't going to be like that. It's literally going to be a fantasy land. I just can't even explain how valuable that is. And they own 100% of it. So I'm still very bullish on Meta as well. Okay, let's check out the economic calendar. This was a pretty big week. I don't know if we have anything going on tomorrow. Yeah, not much tomorrow. Expecting a really choppy and sort of ugly day in the stock market tomorrow. We'll see what happens, but higher prices seem to be abound. If we just take a look at, for example, here's the Dow, which made that new all-time high and just doesn't seem to have any, there's no slowdown here. As you'll notice, price signature that we've been talking about this whole time, got the up close candle right there. Liquidation to the new low, which actually came down right into this order block. New local low was created. Then we actually got a fair value gap above it right there. And it's just running. There's been no retrace. It's just running. And this is probably a front run rally with the expectation that the Fed is going to do something. We'll see. We'll see when and how much they do when it happens. But there's a lot of things that lead me to believe that all this stuff is going to keep going higher. Even though that sounds crazy, because we're at all-time highs and it doesn't make sense, but inflation is also at all-time highs. You have to keep that in mind. It's all relative to that. Okay, let's see if we have any other comments here. More human than most posts on Facebook. Yeah, no, it's wild, dude. Petco's wolf stock, upward movement after long dive down. No, I haven't looked at Petco stock. I don't follow too many stocks, just ones I have really high conviction in, and that's pretty much it. People throw me stock tickers all the time, and I just don't, if I don't use it, if I don't know the product, if I'm not very familiar with it, then I just say, hey, look, if you don't know it, then I say, that's why it took me so long to invest in Bitcoin. I didn't understand it for so long. Man, if I would have. Oh, okay, guys, let's do this. I got to run. I got things to get done. I just want you to know, I would never lead you astray. Feel free to go back and listen. When has D been wrong about any of this stuff? Challenge you to find a video where I was wrong. Not bragging here. Not bragging. I'm just telling you, I understand these things. Why I talk about them. It's something I don't understand, like Wolf, Petco stock. I won't talk about it. These things, I'm studying them day and night with an open mind, ready and willing to be wrong. Been a long time. You guys want a wholesale home loan? Give me a shout. Have a great night. Hopefully I'll be back soon.